Oh, the architects of torment, the self-proclaimed geniuses of cruelty. They thought they had it all figured out, didn't they? Schemes. Within schemes, a torture list crafted with precision, all to keep you trapped in their endless cycle of chaos. They had it all planned. They watched from the shadows, with glee, as they meticulously designed your downfall, their eyes gleaming with satisfaction as they built walls around you stronger than any prison. But what they didn't account for was the fire that burned in you, the hunger that could never be extinguished, no matter how many times they tried to suffocate it. They underestimated your resilience, your ability to rise from the ashes of their broken dreams and shattered plans. Every obstacle they placed in your path only made you stronger. Every insult they hurled at you became fuel for the fire inside you, and with every blow they dealt you, you grew more powerful, more determined. You became the very thing they feared the most. You became the nightmare they could never escape. They imagined you would crumble beneath the weight of their cruelty. They thought they had created a world so hostile that you would never find the strength to stand tall again. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, was that in the depths of their hatred, you found your purpose. In their scorn, you found your will to survive, and in their failure, you found your path to victory. They thought they could destroy you with their tactics, with their words, with their actions, but they were wrong. They dreamed of your failure. They sat in their corners, plotting your demise, whispering to each other about how they would break you, how they would strip you of everything that made you who you are. But they were too blinded by their own arrogance to realize one fundamental truth. The more they tried to break you, the more they fed your growth. The more they tried to tear you down, the higher you would rise. They were trapped in their own delusions of power, believing that the misery they brought to others would somehow give them control over their own lives. But in truth, they were the ones who were trapped, imprisoned by their hatred, their envy, and their need to feel superior. All the while you were free to rise above their petty schemes and break through the walls they had built around you. It's funny how they thought they could control your destiny, when in fact, it was always in your hands. They never understood that their attempts to destroy you were only sowing the seeds of your greatest triumphs. They gave you the strength to become something far beyond what they could ever have imagined. They tried to drown you in a sea of doubt, but you learned to swim. They tried to choke you with fear, but you learned to breathe through it. They tried to cage your spirit, but they didn't know that your spirit was wild, uncontainable, and unstoppable. You were never the victim of their cruelty. You were the catalyst of your own transformation. Every moment of pain, every second of suffering was a stepping stone to a future they couldn't foresee. While they plotted your destruction, you were building your empire brick by brick, and the foundation was made of their hatred, their cruelty, and their failure to understand you. You were never meant to break under the weight of their schemes. You were meant to rise above them, to show them that their hatred could never defeat the force of your will. They thought they could write the story of your life. They thought they had control over your fate. But they forgot one thing. You are the author of your own narrative, and every chapter they tried to dictate was nothing more than a footnote in the greater story of your triumph. Every setback they engineered was a lesson in disguise. Every failure they predicted was a victory waiting to happen. They were simply characters in your story, playing a role they would never truly understand. In the darkest moments, when it felt like all was lost, when the weight of their cruelty seemed unbearable, you stood tall. You refused to let their lies define you. You refused to let their hatred cloud your vision. You kept moving forward, even when they thought you would give up, even when they thought they had broken you. And now, look at you standing on the precipice of your victory, while they are left to watch from the shadows as their dreams crumble to dust. They thought they could shackle you with their expectations, their limitations, their cruelty, but they didn't realize that their chains were made of nothing but lies. Every time they tried to hold you down, you slipped through their fingers like sand. Every time they tried to break you, you grew stronger, more focused, more determined to show them that you were never meant to be their prey. Their torment was never your downfall, it was your awakening. Their cruelty was never a sign of your defeat, it was the spark that ignited your transformation. They tried to imprison you in a world of misery, but what they didn't realize is that they were the ones who were trapped in their own hatred. You were free all along, free to rise above them, free to show them that their power was nothing compared to the strength of your will. And now as you stand at the pinnacle of your success, you can look back at them with a knowing smile. They will never understand the journey you've taken, the pain you've endured, or the strength you've gained. They will never understand that their hatred only made you who you are today. And they will never realize that their dream of your failure has only led to their own nightmare. For you have turned their torment into your triumph. You have taken their cruelty and turned it into the very fuel that drives you. While they rot in the misery they created for themselves, you stand tall, victorious. You have proven them wrong in the most glorious way possible. You have shown them that no amount of hatred, no amount of cruelty can ever destroy the fire that burns within you. They dreamed of your failure, but in the end, it was their failure that became your triumph. So let them watch. Let them wallow in the wreckage of their own designs. Let them sit in the ashes of their broken dreams, because you have already won. You have already turned their nightmare into your reality, and now it is your time to shine. No one can take that away from you. Not now, not ever. You are unstoppable, you are unbreakable, and you are the living proof that their dream of your failure was nothing more than a fantasy. And as you rise higher and higher, they will be left to watch in awe as you turn their darkest hopes into your brightest future. Every moment of their spiteful scheming only made you sharper, more focused, more determined to break free of the chains they tried to bind you with. As they plotted and plotted against you, they failed to see the greater truth. They were the architects of their own downfall. Each cruel word, every deceitful maneuver was a brick laid in the foundation of your victory. They couldn't fathom that their actions would propel you forward. They thought they were writing the final chapter of your story. But what they failed to realize was that they were merely setting the stage for the rise of your greatest triumph. Their scheming was born out of fear, fear that you might one day rise and eclipse them in every way. Their cruelty came from a place of weakness, a desperate attempt to crush what they could never comprehend, what they could never achieve. Your strength, your resilience, and your untapped potential. They were trapped in their own minds, consumed by their jealousy, their insecurities, and their inability to see the greatness that was unfolding right before them. They were blinded by their small vision of the world, too focused on bringing you down to even imagine the monumental heights to which you would soar. And while they cowered in their delusions of power, you forged ahead. With every blow they struck, you absorbed it, not as a defeat, but as a lesson, as fuel for your fire. You didn't crumble, you didn't succumb to their traps. You rose, you adapted, you pushed through. What they didn't understand was that you were never meant to stay in their world. Their world, the world they tried so hard to build for you, was never your world. It was their cage, not your prison. And when they tried to lock you in, they only opened the door to your true path, the path that leads to your greatest potential, to your moment of glory. Do you remember the times when they thought they had you cornered, when their whispers echoed in the dark corners of your mind, trying to convince you that you would never make it? Those were the moments when they believed they could bury you under the weight of their hatred, when they assumed their cruelty would be the final blow. But every time they tried, something greater was at work within you. A force that refused to be crushed, a spirit that refused to die. Every attempt they made to break you only strengthened your resolve. Every insult, every blow, every betrayal pushed you to the edge where your true power lay waiting. They thought they had you on the brink of collapse, but all they did was push you closer to your greatest awakening. You turned their darkest hopes into the brightest fuel for your fire. What they saw as weakness was your secret weapon. What they thought was your breaking point became your launching pad. And they still don't understand it, do they? They still don't get it. They thought they could measure you. They thought they could control your destiny. But what they didn't know was that you are a force beyond their comprehension. You cannot be measured by their standards. You cannot be confined by their limitations. And no matter how many times they tried to push you down, you kept rising. They could never break your spirit. They could never crush the essence of who you are. You are unbreakable. And that is what terrified them the most. You became the embodiment of everything they feared. You turned their hatred into determination. You turned their cruelty into purpose. You turned their plots into power. Every tear they tried to force from your eyes only strengthened the resolve in your heart. Every painful moment they forced upon you became the cornerstone of your strength. They made the fatal mistake of thinking that pain would break you. But you knew something they didn't. Pain is temporary, but the strength that grows from it is eternal. The strength you discovered within yourself was forged in the fires they created, and now it cannot be extinguished. You broke free from their twisted design, not because they gave you an escape, but because you created your own. Every time they tightened the chains, you found a way to slip through. Every time they tried to lock you in, you found the key. And now, as you stand tall, victorious and unbroken, you look at them not with anger, but with pity. They will never know the strength it takes to overcome the darkness they tried to impose on you. They will never know what it means to rise from the ashes and soar to heights beyond their reach. The world they built for you was nothing but a cage, but you never needed to live in their world. You have created your own world, a world of success, of achievement, and of power. You are the architect of your own destiny now. No longer will you be controlled by their schemes. No longer will you be the pawn in their twisted game. You have broken free, and as you stand in the light of your triumph, they will be left to watch, helpless, as you rise higher than they could have ever imagined. What they thought was your end was only the beginning of your rise. What they thought was a trap was the stage for your greatest success. What they saw as your failure became the very foundation for your victory. They believed they were breaking you, but what they were really doing was shaping you into something greater than they could ever comprehend. You were never meant to fail. You were always meant to succeed. And now, with their darkest hopes shattered, you stand as proof that no force, no matter how powerful, can ever keep you down. Now that you have conquered what they set before you, there is no limit to what you can achieve. You have already triumphed over their cruelty, over their schemes, and over their doubt. And if you can overcome them, there is no force in this world that can stop you. You have already proven that you are unstoppable. You are not defined by the obstacles they put in your way. You are defined by your ability to rise above them. Your journey has only just begun. They thought they knew you. They thought they could control you, break you, bring you down. But you are something they could never fathom. You are a force of nature, a force that cannot be contained, a force that is only growing stronger with each passing day. As they watch from the shadows, as they watch you rise, they will come to realize that they were never in control. They were never the architects of your downfall. You were always the architect of your success, and you've turned their darkest hopes into your brightest future. You stand at the threshold of greatness, and the road ahead is yours to walk. You are the victor. You are the one who has triumphed, and nothing at all can take that from you. Let them watch in awe as you step into the future they could never imagine, a future that belongs to you and to no one else. The world is yours to conquer, and nothing will ever stand in your way again, because you have turned their nightmare into your dream, and now nothing will stop you from living that dream to its fullest. The very foundation of your existence is built on the scars, the struggles, and the countless battles that you've faced. Every moment that they thought would be your end, every time they tried to break you, you found a way to emerge stronger. And with each victory, you took one more step toward your destiny. The dream they thought would remain distant and unreachable is now a reality you control. You've taken the narrative of your life into your hands, and you've written it with the ink of your blood, sweat, and tears. They believed they could rob you of your future. They believed they could trap you in the quicksand of their disdain, watch you flail, and then disappear. But what they didn't realize is that their quicksand was your training ground. Every time they tried to drown you, you learned to breathe deeper. Every time they tried to bury you, you dug your way out. Their cruelty was never a wall. It was the ladder you climbed to reach heights beyond their comprehension. Think of all the times they doubted you. Think of the moments when they tried to undermine you, to cast shadows on your every achievement. Their words stung, yes, but you didn't let them define you. You didn't let them define your worth, your potential, or your power. They wanted to see you fall. They wanted to see you crumble beneath the weight of their hatred. But every time they tried, you rose higher. And with each rise, you left their world behind. They thought they were watching your downfall, but in reality, they were witnessing the birth of something extraordinary. It was never about them. It was never about their schemes or their desires to control you. It was always about you, about your inner strength, your unyielding spirit, and your unwavering belief that no matter what, you would never give up. Their plans were only temporary, their hatred fleeting, but the fire inside you is eternal, and it only grows stronger with each passing day. They may have tried to crush your spirit, but they could never defeat the force that drives you. They underestimated your resilience, your refusal to be defeated, and your ability to rise from the ashes every time. Now, look at where you stand. The darkness they once tried to bury you in has been transformed into the backdrop for your greatest success. You have become the embodiment of everything they feared, everything they tried to destroy. They thought their cruelty would crush you, but it only made you more powerful. It only made you more determined to turn every setback into a stepping stone. It only fueled your fire to rise above the hell they tried to create for you. Their defeat is already written in the stars. Your victory, on the other hand, is unfolding before your eyes. You see, they built their plans on the assumption that you would bow to their will, that you would crumble under their pressure. But what they failed to recognize was that you are not a person to be controlled. You are a force of nature, a force that refuses to be bent or broken. Every time they tried to bind you, you broke free. Every time they tried to hold you down, you found your way to the top. And now, you stand at the summit, looking down at the wreckage of their dreams, watching as they helplessly grasp at the fragments of what they thought was their victory. They thought they could create a future where you failed, where you were nothing, where you were insignificant. But in reality, they were the ones who created their own downfall. Their every plot, every move they made to stop you, only pushed you further along your path. They thought they could bury you in despair, but all they did was plant the seed of your success. They sowed the seeds of your greatness, and now you are reaping the rewards. Every ounce of their hatred, every drop of their scorn has been transmuted into the power that courses through your veins. You are stronger than you've ever been. You are more focused, more driven, more capable of achieving everything you've set your mind to. And as you stand at the pinnacle of your success, you can look back and see their plans crumbling to dust. They thought their schemes would bring you down. They thought they could outsmart you, outmaneuver you, and ultimately control the narrative of your life. But they failed to recognize the one thing that no one can ever control: your heart. No matter how much they tried to manipulate, to deceive, to coerce, they could never understand the fire that burned within you. They thought they could crush your spirit, but your spirit is unbreakable. It was forged in the fires of adversity, tempered by the storms of life, and now it stands strong, unyielding, and untouchable. You are no longer the person they thought you would be. You are no longer the victim of their cruelty. You are the victor, the one who has transcended their darkness and risen to take your rightful place in the world. They wanted to see you fall, but instead, they watched as you flew higher than they ever could. They dreamed of your failure, but they never saw the strength within you, the unshakable belief that you would always rise, no matter how many times they tried to break you. And now, as they watch you from the sidelines, they will realize the truth. They were never in control of your destiny. You always were. And as you step forward into your future, nothing will stop you. Nothing can hold you back. The world is yours to conquer, and with every step you take, you will leave behind the remnants of their attempts to bring you down. You will rise, and you will keep rising, because you are no longer bound by their chains. You are no longer confined to their world. You are a force of your own, a force that cannot be stopped, a force that will continue to push forward no matter what obstacles arise. They may have thought they could control your future, but in reality, you have already created your own. So let them watch. Let them stare in disbelief as you soar to heights they could never reach. They will never understand how you did it. They will never understand how you turned their nightmare into your dream. But it doesn't matter, because their opinion is irrelevant. What matters is that you've proven them wrong. You've proven that no matter how hard they tried, no matter how many obstacles they put in your way, you would always find a way to succeed. And now, as you stand in the light of your success, you can finally see what they could never see. Your potential is limitless. This is your time. This is your moment. You have fought, you have struggled, and you have triumphed. And nothing at all can take that away from you. They may have dreamed of your failure, but you've turned that dream into your triumph. You've made their nightmare your reality, and now you will continue to build the future they could never have imagined. So go forth, unburdened by their doubt, and claim what is rightfully yours. The world is waiting for you to make your mark, and nothing will stop you from living that dream to its fullest. In the end, the story of your journey is not one of defeat, but one of unimaginable triumph. They thought they could break you, bend you to their will, and rewrite your future into something dark and hopeless. But in every cruel plot they hatched, you found your power. In every obstacle they placed before you, you found your strength. Every moment of pain, every trial they thought would destroy you, only made you stronger, more focused, and more determined. Their failure is inevitable because they never understood the one truth that you always knew. You are unbreakable. They may have believed that their cruelty would crush you, but all it did was ignite a fire inside of you that will never be extinguished. You have risen higher than they ever thought possible. and in doing so, you have shown the world what true power, resilience, and determination look like. As you stand victorious, the world will know that you are the architect of your own success. They may have dreamed of your downfall, but their nightmare has turned into your reality. You have taken control of your fate, and now you are free to live the dream they could never imagine. And as you continue to rise, you will remind them and the world that nothing, absolutely nothing, will stop you from living that dream to its fullest. You are the living proof that when the world dreams of your failure, you turn their darkest hopes into the brightest future. Your story is just beginning, and there is no limit to what you will achieve.